For this video, I'll be going over Revolve and Revolve cut. This is very similar to extrusion and extrude cut, except for extrusion, we're going in just one direction, while Revolve is rotating about the axis. So, still remains the same where we create a sketch, but this time we'll add an axis that will be rotating about, and the Revolve cut will be just the other way of doing it, cutting away the material. First, we'll create a sketch that we want to rotate about. So we'll click the sketch, and we'll click whatever plane that we want to work on, which this time will be a front plane. Then we'll create whatever sketch. For this time, I'll just create a random sketch. Let's say polygon. So I need to fully define, so I'll be using smart dimensions to define this length of 50 millimeters. And I'll click one of the corners and shift and click the origin to fully define by adding the relationship vertical. Now you'll exit sketch. So you'll have this sketch in the 3D space. Now you'll have to do is go to features and do the revolve, boss, or base. And you'll click this, and it'll ask you of axis of revolution. But first, let's click on the selected contours, which in the bottom you can click selected contour, which is just basically our polygon that we created. Click this, and go back to the axis of revolution, and you'll click this to make this clickable. Then we'll click one of the edges as a rotating axis. It can be any axis that basically this sketch, 2D sketch, will be rotating about. So let's click this corner. It'll show you a preview of how it's going to look once it's rotated about this axis. We can also change the degree of the rotation. So for example, if it's 270 degrees, then it'll only rotate 3/4 of the part. But right now, we're just going to do 360 degrees. So we do have this revolved part about this center axis. So what if we want to make some part that's donut shaped? Let's go back to the sketch and right click on the sketch and edit sketch, and I'll just erase this and click a same polygon, but this time away from the origin. And I'll also add a relationship where this will be horizontal, or actually this will be horizontal, so, and this will be vertical. And I'll add a distance, let's say 100 millimeter. So this will be fully defined. Same thing, I'll do an exit sketch. For this time, I'll need to have a rotating axis, but it's not the edge of this polygon. It's actually an axis that's going through the origin, which is around here. So I'll need to make a reference plane or axis that this will be rotating about. To do so, it's in the Features tab in the Reference Geometry over here. I click it, and I click the axis. So it doesn't show anything where I can make the axis, so I'll go to this part in a drop-down menu, click this black triangle, will show this bottom, and basically what it can do is that I can click two different planes from front, top, and right that can intersect to create an axis. And that axis will go through the origin, which we can have this polygon rotate about. So first we'll click the right plane, it automatically sets the two planes features on the axis, and I'll click the front plane. So now we can show that this yellow line that shows the front plane and right plane's intersections to create this axis. And click OK, and it will show axis 1. Similarly, we'll go to Revolve Boss or Base, and we'll need to click the sketch or the plane that we want to work on, so we'll click Sketch 9. Now, again, we'll go to Selected Contours at the bottom, and we'll click the part that we drew. But this time, instead of clicking the edge of this part for the axis of revolution, we'll click axis 1. And this will show you the preview of this part that's rotating about this axis away from the center. Let's say for our purpose we'll do 200 degrees. Click OK, and it will show you this part. Anytime, if you don't want to see the axis, you can always click on this, right-click on this axis, and you can click the hide to hide the view of this axis if you don't want to see him. Now we want to do the revolved cut. So we want to cut away through this material, but this time we want to do something revolved cut, so it'll be rotating about this axis concentric to this part that we've created. So we'll click the revolve cut. Before then, we want to create a sketch that we want to do the revolve cut. So let's click sketch first. Sketch, and we'll click the surface that we want to work on. But we're going to go from this part coming out this surface. So let's click on this surface. Let's create a circle. And also do a smart dimension of this size, let's say 50 millimeter. And add a relationship. Well, it's going to be horizontal from the origin and vertical from this tip. So it will be fully defined. Then we'll rotate to do a revolve cut. So exit sketch. We still have axis 1 that we can play around with. So we don't need to create another reference geometry. So we'll go to Features and do the Revolve Cut. This is next to Hole Wizard. And then when you click Revolve Cut, it'll ask you to click the surface or sketch. So we'll do a drop-down menu, and we'll click Sketch 10. And we'll go to Selected Contours, like what we do for Revolve, and we'll click this circle that we drew. And we'll click the axis of revolution. This time we'll be clicking the axis 1 that we created, and it'll show a preview like this. So for 360 degrees it'll be okay since we'll be cutting away eventually, but let's say if this was 180 degrees, or this part was 200 degrees, so this is 200 degrees. But this time, this is not the direction that we want. So we'll click the button right next to the blind that shows reverse direction, and it'll go to the direction that you want. Click OK. Now it'll show a revolved cut.